And that brings up another good point. The organizations that I see that are successful, the champion is never taking any credit. Mm-hmm. The champion is always talking about how the organization or the team or somebody else deserves something. We used to give away awards. We actually had an award ceremony every year. We would give away an award associated with the person we felt who exhibited the best behaviors and value and made the biggest difference to the organization. And that award was actually voted on by their peers. It was not something that, I at the center said this is the person that deserved it. Mm-hmm. We actually asked folks, to say who deserved it. We also then gave away an award at the line level or at a lower level in the organization. It said, who's the person that made a biggest difference at more of a shop floor level? So not just the site leadership level, but at the shop floor level. Mm-hmm. And then we had award ceremonies for them. And I can tell you right now, those people cried when they received their awards.
Hey.
Because you know why? Because it was voted on by their peers. Mm-hmm. And because it meant something, because they knew that everybody was striving for that, mm-hmm. and they actually got it. It wasn't just like an attaboy, here's a lunch ticket. This was, a crystal award that somebody dropped and broke, and we had to replace. No comment, Luis. So we had a crystal award, but yeah, like it. Those things mean something. You've got to make connections to people in any way that you can, but they have to be genuine.
Yep.
And that is a whole nother topic. Mm-hmm. And can you coach being genuine? Can you teach being genuine? Can you? Right. You've got it. Even if it is not your wheelhouse, if this is not what. Let's say you're the guy who likes to just be at their computer and type, and that's about it. If you are the person that finds himself in the role of trying to implement asset management and reliability and be a champion, somehow you have to break that shell. Mm-hmm. Somehow you've got to dabble in the water. You've got to expand that expertise.
That's how you create experience. Is you got to put yourself out there. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do the things you don't like to do in order to gain experience, and eventually it becomes comfortable the more you throw yourself out there. The thing with a lot of us being introverts is the fear of rejection or, afraid people aren't going to like you or whatever it is, but we got to get over that and truly care about the success of others. You see billionaires and millionaires all the time. All they care about is the success of others. The ones that I enjoy to follow anyway. There's some that I would disagree with that assessment, but the majority of them want to see other people succeed. Even Zig Ziglar himself always said, you help enough people get what they want, eventually you get what you want, right? And so it's about putting others first, about caring about their success, and giving them the credit where credit's due, and not being the guy that all your team's busting their butt and they're showing success, and you go, and you see what I did? I did such a great job. I'm the greatest. Taking that credit to try to get that promotion. And
I think that brings up another good point. In groups that I've seen succeed, believe it or not, concession is actually something that they do well. So they know which battles to fight and which battles they can allow to not be perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Perfection is the enemy of success.
Right.
And so, progress is progress. And this is a journey. So if you're saying, well, it's not perfect, so I'm going to stand my ground in exchange for progress, that actually becomes a negative. And your team sees that as a negative. And so there are certain battles that you're going to have to say, that's it, line in the sand. But a vast majority of them, progress is progress. And you should accept that progress and move on to the next thing. You can circle back around and make a better progress later, but take the progress when it comes.
Right.
And so there's a whole trait around knowing which battles to fight and which battles aren't worth fighting.
It's also compromise.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I guess that's a better way to put it.
Basically, what you're saying is the ability to compromise. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the thing is we get caught up on the stupidest details that will deter and derail everything that you're doing, right? A good example is you're presenting in a presentation and all the content's there, but all this person can focus on is that you misspelled the word. Completely ignoring.
That's every steering team
I'm
ever
just saying,
right?
It's like there's a word misspelled, or they don't like the way you used a word, or that graphic isn't sitting just right, and we're focused on such petty things that we completely derail from what.
But they do that on purpose sometimes.
Well, I know,
to test you.
Yeah,
I can tell
sometimes.
you 100%.
Sometimes
that there are steering teams out there where their goal is to knock you off balance just to see how you react as a leader.
I agree, but I agree that a grammar Nazi will always be a grammar Nazi.
They got too many red marks in grade school.
No matter what, you know. And normally you know when it's a test because somebody will throw something out and somebody else is throwing something out. When it's the same individual all day, every time you do something, and they're so picky. And normally it's somebody above you, and they have more power than you, so you can't.
So that's a good point.
Call them out for it, but it's like, are you not getting the content? This whole team busted their tail, and we saw a 40% throughput gain, and you're worried about the lowercase t instead of the capital T.
Or functional location.
Well, I'm just saying.
So,
you know, I mean, it is what it is.
So how do you deal with it? So one of the other characteristics is that champion understands their audience and can adapt to their audience. And, you know, there's certainly some validity to senior leadership needs the support. But part of senior leadership needs the support is that the champion can effectively communicate the value back to senior leadership, right? Otherwise, they shouldn't support it, right? You know, if your kid comes home and says, "Hey, Dad, I think you should buy me a Porsche as my first car," what's the justification there? You know what I mean? And so, you know, we as maintenance folks, and I know the topic is what are the successful things to do, but typically we get promoted from within. And so we were the maintenance mechanic, and we became the maintenance supervisor, and we became the maintenance planner, and then we became the maintenance manager. And then we became a reliability person, and now we're the reliability engineer, or, you know, whatever the case may be in your progression. We've gotten no understanding of how to talk to senior leadership along that way. We went from maintenance mechanic to supervisor and got almost no supervisory training. We went from supervisor to planner and didn't get any training. Went from planner to maintenance manager, didn't get any training. Now we're in charge of a budget. We don't have any idea how to do it. So we just accept last year's budget year after year, and then we move on to some other position. Eventually, we're responsible for asset management, and we've gotten almost no training in how to talk to senior leadership to support those efforts. Right. They read an article, they showed up at a conference, you know, and suddenly they're going, we need asset management. They put a position in place, and they have no idea what it's supposed to do, and the person they promoted into it didn't get any training associated with that, right? So how, in terms of talking to senior leadership. So what do people have to do to bridge that gap? Other than read and learn and take it upon yourself to do personal development.
That's really all you can do. I mean, it's not, you can ask to go to some training, but a lot of it is being able to openly and honestly communicate with those above you. Ask them for feedback, you know, and sit and talk with them and try to understand what they care about, what are the things that they want to see accomplished. It's not necessarily having to use the right language in the meeting, but it's understanding your audience, right? So if I'm sitting in there with my boss and trying to understand him a little more, what makes him tick, what is it that he's really wanting to see, what are the goals that they set for him? Right? And what is it that he needs accomplished, so I know how to set my directives or even speak to the things that I'm doing and how they contribute to his success. And same with the HR manager, sitting and talking with the head of HR, or talking with, and getting to know the way that they work and their mannerisms, and what are some of their peeves, so you can avoid some of those things.
I'm a terrible boss.
Well, I know, but I've dealt with it for 2 years. So if I can do it, you guys can do anything.
Because I'm just a team guy. I'm like, this is a team. Let's talk. Let's be open. Let's figure out that stuff. Yep. Let's figure out who's best to do something and just go do it. And if that means I got to do the work, I'll do the work. If it means you got to do the work, you got to do the work. If it means somebody else has to do work, somebody else has to do work. Like
But how does
most
that relate
folks,
to speaking to upper management?
But I'm saying it like as a subordinate to that, whoever's in that group,
right?
It's more fluid, and so they don't feel that restriction.
Right.
But in a typical approach, you feel that restriction and that barrier, right? And so you're hesitant, and you don't. I guess there's two pieces. One is you feel that restriction. Mm. The second piece is you haven't actually tried to figure out your boss.
Well, that's it.
That's the biggest thing.
You've got to overcome that.
You've got to figure out what makes your boss tick. Right. Is it a financial person? Are they an analytical person? Right. Are they a statistical person? Are they a people person? Yeah. And then you've got to play on those pieces in order to be successful.
Right. I agree.
So would I.
Yeah, if only I had a boss like that.
That would what?
I don't know. So,
all right. So some more characteristics for success. I would say that another characteristic for success is to develop a sense of urgency.
Yep.
People have to understand why you're asking the culture to evolve. And what that means is this. There has to be a connection between each individual's job function and the organizational goals. And what I see lacking, or the inverse of what we're talking about, is that people just see their daily work as a job. And they don't see it as impactful to your business. And so if you're in food, you supply food and nutrients to mothers and children and people that are going to ingest what you make daily. That's a critical thing.
And men.
Yeah. That you're going to, whatever. People are going to ingest this every day. And so what you do makes a difference. It either, they get to sit down as a family and have conversation. You're helping to support that structure. If you're in the medical field, it doesn't matter what the field is. Your goal as a leader and as a champion is to build a connection between what folks do every day and what it means to the organization and what it means to your customers. And when they get that sense of understanding, you can then build a sense of urgency as to why your asset management practices are important and what they do for your customer. And that connection is something that you typically don't see, and one of the reasons initiatives are not as successful.
I agree. And I think it should be one of the highest priority things. And I think a lot of people don't understand how to do that. But it's fairly simple, right? I mean, you're an operator on a piece of equipment. And the overall, one of the objectives is to hit a certain number in units produced, right? But they don't understand how sitting and pushing buttons all day relates to that. Well, what are you doing to make the machine better, and how can I help you do that, right? And so sitting with them and teaching them, all right, let's learn your machine a little better so that we can run it at a better capacity, right? And kind of walking through and helping them with that, they start to see, okay, you used to produce 100 units an hour, and now we've kind of gotten to know the machine, we've tweaked a few things, and now you're running 120 units per hour, and now this number is attainable. Do you understand that what you're doing here and how you fix those few things is meeting this goal over here? it doesn't have to be some complicated and 3-hour presentation. It's actually going out there and making connections with people and getting them to see that how important it is that they do their job and they do it right, and that they can improve, and empowering them to have that capability to improve. I see a lot of times that we don't empower our people, which is why there's no connection there.
I'll tell you what, I toured a facility recently, right? So we're walking around the plant, and I've got the person responsible for maintenance, whatever, touring the plant with me. Takes me to an area, and we're walking through the facility, and we walk by trash on the floor, and I bend down and pick it up, throw it in the bin. We walk by a safety issue that they walked in front of me, walked right past it. I stopped and secured that issue, and then continued to walk. We then went to walk up on like a catwalk area, and we saw safety issues, things laying on the catwalk that would be trip hazards. They literally stepped over those things, and then I had to collect those things up and put them so they were safe. The issue here is you've got to act as you would expect and set a level of expectation. And there's another plant that I toured where somebody in that similar position walked by things that should have been PM that had stickers on them, didn't get PM. That we were sitting in front of an area that needed some attention, and they didn't give it attention. They would have just let it foul, and so I took action. And they don't say hello to folks at the line. They're not asking how the family is doing. You should be walking that line every day. Mm-hmm. You should pick up any trash that you see. You should shake hands with everyone you walk by. You should ask how they are doing. You should ask what you can do for them.
Look, without them, you're nobody.
I'm already nobody.
Without
I've
them...
been nobody for a long time.
Without them, you're nobody. The only way to get promoted is to backhand and step over people at that point. And it's not the right way to do it. People do it all the time, but I wouldn't say that that's the most admirable leader that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. There's no legacy left there except for in the negative arena. And so the goal as a good leader is to try to leave a lasting impression on everyone and to leave that legacy there, to know that you cared about them and they know that you care about them. And that, I wouldn't be where I am today without all the people that have allowed me to be here.
Thank you, Joe.
No, I'm talking about
other people.
Yeah.
Other people.
I chose to come here.
Other people.
Yeah. So
everyone but you.
Everyone. Yeah, the but is a big one. And no, but really, every plant that I've worked in, there's operators, there's maintainers, and all these people that go out and execute the work. It's not me executing the work. I'm just trying to guide them the right direction, help them make the right decisions, and they know that I care about them. I want what's best for them. I want everybody to succeed, and they know that. And
thank you.
I wouldn't have some of the credentials that I have if it wasn't for these people. And there's no way. I wouldn't have case studies that I could talk about if it wasn't for these people. It's nothing that I did, per se. They carried the load, and I'm grateful for that. And they know that I appreciate every one of them. So without those people, you wouldn't be where you are. And so I don't know. I just don't understand how you can't shake someone's hand and ask them how they're doing. It just blows my mind. Like, you can just walk through this whole facility and not even make eye contact with a single person. the whole time. I'm serious. You've worked there
or
for
not
years.
even go out into the facility.
Yeah, well,
or you just stay at your desk.
We
right?
had to get them out into the facility first, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Some things are.
All right, so I'm almost ready to refresh. So let's wrap this up. If you had to summarize characteristics that made you that would be, you know what the interesting thing is? None of this was technical.
It's not technical.
There's no tools. There's no strategy. There's no all the things that I've seen inside a well-established organization from an asset management perspective. There is one piece that's technical. In my experience,
what's it?
There's structure to it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a structure to processes and how you train people and how they understand processes and how you document processes.
Yeah, but that comes over time anyway.
It does, right? So you've got to get to a certain maturity level before you get there. And I think, guys like Jack Nicklaus have written books on how to proceduralize those things and how to put that structure in place. Mm-hmm. But organizations that are at that level are even a step above what most listeners would be, right? Or viewers would be.
Well, we only have 3. So we don't really
me,
know.
you, and
me,
Paul.
You, yeah.
so Paul Crocker.
Paul Crocker. Drink to that.
So if we put in context what the biggest items are to work at, because we got to wrap up, but what do you think they are?
I think we said them. Champion. Quick wins. Caring about people. Showing
3 times. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, showing people that they can succeed.
Yeah. Putting a connection from their position into the business goals. Giraffe. Our new term for reliability. Giraffe. It's code word.
Yeah. Well, just saying. Yeah. I just wanted to throw a random word in there.
Giraffe.
See what happens.
I'm out. Yeah, giraffe.
Everybody's going to be emailing me now. What's a giraffe you're talking about? I don't know. And it's just a random word.
All right. So my advice to anyone listening that wants to implement a successful implementation is understand your manager. Connect to people at the shop floor. Mm-hmm. And that'll pretty much do it. That'll pretty much do it.
Even if you don't know your boss.
The other stuff is all technical things,
Even if you don't know your boss.
The other things are technical things. You can teach all those other things. Mm-hmm. The 2 things that you've got to work on as an individual is understanding your manager so you can back them in a corner. And what I mean by that is you get them to nod up and down, right? It'd be stupid for us to waste money, right? Sure, it would be stupid for us to waste money. Great, we keep wasting money on this. Oh, wow, we shouldn't do that. Okay, great. You agree we shouldn't do that, right? Yeah. Okay, I have a way that we can stop doing that. Oh, that's great. Okay, great. Once their head's nodding up and down, you're in good shape. The other piece of that is relating to the shop floor. So if you can understand your manager, get their head to nod up and down, and then understand the shop floor and make a direct connection to the shop floor, everything in between is teachable, technical stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wouldn't even worry about my boss. The first thing I'd worry about is people
shop
on
floor.
the floor.
Yeah, shop floor.
My boss will come later, but the boss is going to ask anyway, why is it you can influence people to do things?
You
know what I mean? And so that gives you an opportunity. I mean, the most important thing in the world is taking care of the people on the floor. And everybody talks about change and all this stuff, and really, in a way, it's a facade. It's you caring about people is really all it is. You're not going through this huge transformation. It's, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Change is a negative context anyway.
Yeah,
people is the second you say we need to change means something's not right. You're trying to evolve people.
Yeah.
You're not trying to change your culture. You're trying to evolve your culture.
Right.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So we appreciate you tuning in. So we have all of our links down below. The website, the podcast, the monthly column, Captain Unreliability and Plant Services. Check that out. As well as hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know every time we we drop a video. But we appreciate you tuning in, and until next time, I'm Joe Anderson. And this is George Williams.
Awesome.
And we're out. Have a good night.